But since that time, the field has really evolved super rapidly. The so-called second-generation clocks used aging as a phenotype to understand how old someone is biologically. So now, instead of thinking about the time it's been since the day we're born, like this nice lady on the left, you can start thinking about age as it's related to biology. And we have two clocks like that. One of them is called omic-image. We developed this one with Harvard. Omic stands for all the different omic layers used in the development of the test, including transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics. The M is for methylation, and then it gives you an age, hence omic-image. The benefit of using omic-image is that we can also tell you why you're aging, because we have these epigenetic biomarkers, clinical factors, metabolites, and proteins incorporated into creating omic-image. We provide 33 of these on our report that tell you which ones are actionable and give you recommendations for change that are highly specific. We determine whether they're actionable by comparing your scores from the algorithms versus other people's from the same cohort who are the same age and sex as you, plus or minus 5 years. And here's an example of two of those from a 40-year-old in the True Diagnostic employee list who agreed to let me share his results here. So one of them was androsterone sulfate, which is a metabolite downstream of testosterone that was low in him. Typically, we see this in individuals who have either a nutrient deficiency listed here, zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, and omega-3, which all support testosterone, or perhaps just simply low testosterone. In his case, that was the case. And also BMP1 was low for this individual, which is typically consistent with a person who is calcium or vitamin D deficient, which both of which are true for him. Moving on to Symphony Age. This is, Symphony is an acronym, but this is essentially aging of different systems, 11 distinct organ systems here. We developed this algorithm with Yale, and we track all these changes longitudinally for individuals who test with us more than once. I like to use this as a screening tool to check out the biomarkers that were used to generate the algorithms originally to understand more about the particular individual's clinical picture. So I just want to show you an example from the same individual here. So this is his entire Symphony Age here. This is his chronological age at the top, his overall Symphony age. You can see some of these that are aging, in particular like hormone, liver, metabolic, and musculoskeletal. And I'm just going to talk about two of them quickly. So here's hormone age. You can see that we actually designed this based on IGF-1 and DHEA sulfate because the biobanks did not have estradiol, testosterone, progesterone, or anything like that. So it's based on this. However, it's highly affected by things like testosterone deficiency. And that makes sense because we also saw that his androsterone sulfate was low. So you're going to see a lot of overlap between the two different ones that also help give you a general idea of the direction you need to go in to help your client or yourself. Another one for him that you see is musculoskeletal age, and here's the list of all the biomarkers that were included in this one. And in this case, it's basically vitamin D, dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate, which is also DHEA sulfate, IGF-1. Both of these are in the hormone age as well, arthritis, height, weight, BMI, and then a bunch of these are all based on balance-related exercises. And we also saw that corroborates exactly what we saw in his epigenetic biomarkers via the vitamin D deficiency and the testosterone deficiency. So this, corroborates exactly what we're seeing previously and helps us to drive the right plan for him. Going back to the clocks, there is one more clock that I want to mention, which is a third generation category. Whereas most biological age clocks are built on a diverse group of individuals of all ages, multi-generational clocks, this clock cancels out the noise of a multi-generational clock by tracking their study participants longitudinally. What I'm talking about is the Dunedin multidisciplinary study. So this uses the idea that testing the same group of individuals at different points throughout their life can teach us more about how people are aging at any given moment based on their methylation patterns at that specific time. And so this Dunedin multidisciplinary study includes over 1,000 individuals with a 96% retention rate, amazing. And they were all born in the same year in the 70s in the same hospital and essentially have all the same exposures based on where they live in similar socioeconomic status. And this is sort of like what we get back from a Dunedin PACE score. You get an overall score based on how fast you've been aging over the last 2 to 3 months. It was developed with Duke. And here you can see just like a really quick example. I just want to point out a couple. So like this one is just showing how stress can drive your pace of aging up. Things like weight loss when you need it, a job promotion or like positive things happening, Mediterranean diet, things like that are driving your pace down. So that's just something I want to point out here. And this is based on 173 CPGs. And this is a case study I just want to really quickly go through because I want everyone to see how this sort of fits in clinically. So this is Mahir. This is not his real name or his real picture, but these are real results from another individual. And this is his omic image. So you can see that he's actually in his 50s, mid 50s, and you can see that when he first tested with us, he had relatively higher levels. They went up and then went down for omic age, which is a good lifespan predictor. Symphony age is a good health span predictor. You can see the trajectory here. And then this is kind of what happened in his testing. So he had surgery for a hiatal hernia. He also had a shoulder surgery repair. And then he was drinking quite a bit of alcohol regularly. He also had several nutrient deficiencies and poor sleep. After his second test came back, he saw epigenetic biomarkers like low hemoglobin hematocrit, high RDW, low glycerylphosphatidylcholine lipid, and low albumin, consistent with folate deficiency, B12 deficiency, omega-3 deficiency. He also noted high homocysteine through traditional testing, and he decided to take, as a result, a B complex, omegas, magnesium, and he got an Oura ring to track his sleep. He also was doing physical therapy post-surgery to get better and more active. And then when he saw that really nice marked improvement, he thought he would start focusing on stress-related markers, and he began meditating again. He also got the opportunity to try plasmapheresis. And obviously, this is in the setting of doing a lot of other good things for his body, but you can see that he had marked improvement again. Following his fourth test, he was convinced that alcohol was the reason for poor sleep based on his Oura ring ratings, and so he gave that up too. And you can see that for the most part, his trajectory here is really good by omic image standards. When we go to the symphony age here, you can see that this is a little bit of a different clock. This one gives a slightly higher age for him, which it's still younger than his actual age. And this one is more consistent with the health span prediction. And you can see how this fluctuated a little bit in a different way. Like symphony age actually went up after plasmapheresis and meditation. I kind of doubt meditation is the reason that this one went up. However, it's possible. But giving up alcohol definitely did bring this one down. The one that was highest for him was brain age for quite some time, and we think that was related to sleep. And what you're not seeing are each of the individual organ systems as they change just because of time. But brain age came down for him by 14 years since the first time he tested, which I thought was really incredible. Also, his musculoskeletal system has still been on the higher end because he hasn't been able to exercise quite as much as he would like. And this is how all of that affected his pace of aging. So right now he's at the lowest that he's ever been. He also says that he's sleeping the best that he ever has. He also gave up alcohol. And you can just see that steadily he's gotten better consistently across every single time measure for the pace. Finally, I just want to say a few things to those providers who might be considering testing with True Diagnostic. This is some of the support that we have for our clinical validity. Besides, being regulated by a CLIA laboratory, we also have, plenty of peer-reviewed papers. We have great mortality prediction. We have a lot of studies showing disease associations that are favorable, reversal feasibility. True Diagnostic has a ton of their own research as well as clinical studies. We validate on a diverse population, and we see that these populations are really consistent across a lot of different ethnic backgrounds. And then we also have the entire regulatory perspective, CLIA approved compliance, HIPAA compliant as well. And then we have a lot of other publications as well with different universities. And this just gives you an idea of who could benefit in the largest ways. So definitely your longevity enthusiasts are going to, but absolutely midlife motivation. If you're looking for what you could sort of focus on or optimize, is a great test for you. Chronically ill patients might be able to find different signs of things that could help improve outside of the setting of whatever disease they're battling. Also those with genetic risk, they could essentially focus on other aspects that might improve their ability to stay away from some of the symptoms that are consistent with whatever disease they're predisposed to have. And then also older adults might be able to benefit as well, identifying places in their lifestyle where they could benefit. I don't want to end this without also mentioning very briefly our True Health product because I love it. It has 104 different markers of all these categories here. The serum lipid profile performs so well. I'm super impressed by it. And I really like this report. It's less nuanced than the True Age report, so there's not a whole lot up for debate as to how to interpret it. but these are giving you more of a 3-month average rather than what your value is right now today. And I really like that idea as it relates to a micronutrient report. So I just wanted to let everyone know that this exists without really showing you too much about it. If you're interested in testing with us or becoming a healthcare provider, you can sign up at truediagnostic.com. You can also contact our support team for anything that you might need, support at truediagnostic.com, or feel free to email me, Melissa at truediagnostic.com. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for bringing forward such groundbreaking